radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Well. Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. How you doing? How you doing? Wow. Today is Tuesday, December 18th, 2018, 352 days into the new year. Just 13 days left. Man, 7 days till Christmas. 6 days till Christmas Eve. Unbelievable. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south. Far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? All right. It's going to be a great show tonight. More on that in just a bit. There are reasons why. But tonight, very special guest, Derrel Sims, the alien hunter. Derrel Sims is here. Can't believe it. Tomorrow night, it's Richard Bleepin Dolan, and he will be our last guest of 2018, as it should be. Thursday is another Fader night with Teresa Yanneris and Divine Frequency on the airwaves, followed by open lines all night long. You know what to do on Stellar, on stellar.com. Head over, get registered. The new great social media network built for you on stellar.com. Twitter is at JChurchRadio. That's right. Facebook, that's Jimmy Church Radio, I believe. That's all over on our website. You can just click. YouTube, it's all easy to do, right? At JChurch Radio is what we do live during the show. Hashtag F2B right up in front of me. The Sandbox. The Sandbox. Sandbox has gotten pretty famous. I mean, the Sandbox, man. Wow. You know, and when you think about it, years ago, and more on that, I keep saying this, more on that in just a bit. Tonight's a very special night. Tomorrow it's going to be an even more special night, and I'll get to all of that. But when the Sandbox was named, right, do you guys remember when you did that? Right, hashtag F2B, that was you guys. And who did the number 2? Right? Shouldn't we have just done FTB? Because then it would have been easier, right? FTB, right? Hashtag FTB. But somebody put in the 2. We're stuck with that, right? F2B. But look what the Sandbox has turned into. You guys did all of that. You named yourselves the Fadernauts. You did that. All of this is because of you. So thank you, okay? And if you want to go and check out the Sandbox, if you're new to the show, jump over to Twitter, hashtag F2B. Certainly get TweetDeck. Download TweetDeck. That's the only way to go. Once you get TweetDeck, you will never tweet normally again. And that's the truth. That's the truth. TweetDeck is the way to go. Hashtag F2B. Get your columns going. Look, right here. Look at John. Yeah, that's that is yes, that is TweetDeck right there. Oh, that's Justin. Thank you for that, Justin. All right, here we go. Let's tonight's a very important show, and tomorrow night as we start to wind down the new year, these are very important days for us, December 18th and December 19th. Okay, now you can email throughout the show, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Very simple, easy enough to do. All right, there you go. Breaking news. Penny Marshall, that's right, star of Laverne and Shirley, director of films such as Big and A League of Their Own, died yesterday. She was 75 years old. She died peacefully in her home here in Hollywood. And there you go. Rest in peace, Penny Marshall. And you go and you think about the theme song to Laverne and Shirley, right? Everybody sang it. Everybody got the words wrong. But what memories, right? You know, and that was a great show. That was a great era for TV. That was there was nothing like that. Happy days, you know. Whew, whew. And they were happy days. Yeah, wow. Arnold. Arnold's. All right, there you go. Penny Marshall. Milwaukee. That's right. Milwaukee. What was the name of the beer company that they worked at? I can't remember. Rest in peace, Penny Marshall. Okay, moving on. Last week, history was made, but barely made the news. But it happened on December 10th. Oh, shots. Was it shot? Yeah, Milk and Coke, right? Right? Was it shots? Yeah, Milwaukee. Enough said. Was that it? Schlots? Schlots? Shots? I can't remember. It just popped into my head. Shots? I think it was Shots beer. All right, so last week, history was made on December 10th, but barely made the news. And I'm talking about real history. And it's that Voyager 2 became the second man-made object to leave our solar system and go interstellar. That's right. It passed what is known as the heliopause, the boundary between the solar wind and where the sun dominates and where interstellar medium is dominant. Now, that crossing happened on November 5th. It was detected by Voyager 2 in the form of a sharp drop in solar wind particles and the corresponding increase in galactic cosmic rays detected by the spacecraft's instruments. The Voyager 2 passing comes 6 years after Voyager 1 also crossed the heliopause into interstellar space. So now we have two man-made objects that have left our solar system, interstellar. Now they've got to get past the, it's going to take about, are you ready for this? It's going to take 300 years approximately to get to the edge, the inside edge of the Oort cloud. And then 30,000 years to get to the other side of it. Yeah, at that speed. That's right. Voyager, interstellar. Pretty incredible when you think about it. And it wasn't Schlitz. It was Shots. Schlitz was a real beer company. Shots. Yeah, there it is. Shots. David Pendleton got it right. Okay. John Kliegel says Schlitz. No, it was Shots. Oh, man, you guys are arguing over that. Schlitz was real beer. Okay. All right. Man, Penny Marshall. I remember going to different basketball games, and it was always so exciting to see, Clippers and she would, go to Laker games. But to see Penny Marshall come in and sit down, she had a little corner floor seat with her blue glasses, right? Yeah. Penny Marshall. Okay. All right. Yeah, left the solar system. Absolutely incredible. Okay, now, next week, a week from tomorrow, is December 26th, Wednesday, a week from tomorrow. December 26th, we, Fade to Black, are having our annual holiday party, Christmas party, at the world-famous Rainbow Bar and Grill on the Sunset Strip right here in Hollywood, California. So start making your plans. If you're going to be in Los Angeles, spending Christmas with the family, do that, and then head over on Wednesday, the next day. Hey, I got something to do. I got to go to Hollywood. Anybody know how to get to the Rainbow Bar and Grill? Everybody does. We'll see you there. Okay? It's that simple. We've got the links up. You can go over to our Facebook page. You can go to my page, head over there, get to our Fade to Black event, and let us know. RSVP right there. Okay? Give us that courtesy. And then come over and hang out. It's going to be great. And then right after that, come join us. The 2019 Conscious Life Expo right here in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton. And we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Daniken. And Friday night, I will be hosting the panel with Eric, Linda Moulton Howe, Jason Martell, Billy Carson, David Wilcock. It's going to be great. So come over and hang out with us. That'll be Friday night. You got to get your tickets for that. It's going to sell out. And I know that room holds, I think, 1,500, 1,200, 1,500. It seems ginormous. It seems big, but it's sold out every single year. Get your tickets early. Come and hang out with all of us, okay? George Norrie's going to be there. Nassim Haramein going to be there. Robert Schock, Danny Brinkley, Grant Cameron, Julia Mossbridge, Teresa Yannaris. 50 other speakers are going to be presenting this year at the 2019 Conscious Life Expo. All you have to do is click on the banners at jimmychurchradio.com. Simple enough. You can check out the full conference schedule there. Tickets, lodging, all of that. Get it done over at jimmychurchradio.com. All right. Now, I've been giving these Bitcoin updates, and it looks like, well, we're not out of the clear yet. It's only the 18th. But it looks like Bitcoin's going to get out of 2018 above $3,000. And right now it's hovering at around 3,500, and it seems like it's settled in. But wow, what a crash. What a crash. And it went up today. It went up from 3,300, 3,400. It's up to about 35, 36. It's trying to make some kind of comeback. It's still my guess. I think that maybe a year from now, everybody will go, you know what? Church said it was going to be $10. Church said it was going to be $100. That's what I think. I mean, that's the comfortable. If you're going to use it for money, if it's going to be an investment, that's another thing. But there you go. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. It's just $2 per month. Go to jimmychurchradio.com. Click on the podcast banner. It's updated every single day. You can also become a Fader Not over in our membership section on the site. And all of the things that you get when you become an official Fader Not, right? You can get things like downloadable, commercial-free archives, updated every single day, right? Commercial-free, downloadable. Listen on wherever, whoever, whatever you want to do, right? You can get autographed shirts and hats, and you get a private email to me. That, you know what? I actually reply to. I do. I reply to them. And if you renew your membership, you get the new Fade to Black t-shirts. Oh, John just posted it right there on Twitter. That's the new version of the shirt. I'll pop this up there right now. There you go. Boom. Paste. Done. That's a cool shirt. That's our renewable. So then you'll have two Fade to Black shirts. Two different ones. Tonight, Derrel Sims is here with us, the Alien Hunter. Tomorrow night, it's Richard Bleepin' Dolan. That's right, on our last show of the year, right? Our last guest of the year. Okay, all right. Now, let's get the show cracking. Keith Richards today is 75 years old. Brad Pitt today is 55. Steven Spielberg is 72. Casper Van Dien is 50, Starship Troopers. Ray Liotta is 64. Now, this is what's strange. Last night, I think it was last night, I went and watched Goodfellas with Rita. Or maybe it was the night before. But I hadn't watched Goodfellas in forever. Today it's Ray Liotta's birthday. Go figure. That's the universe working right there. On this day in history, OTD 1912, Piltdown Man is discovered. And at the time, it was thought to be the missing link. But it turned out to be a fraud. The skull was not 1,000,000 years old. Nope. It was only 600 years old, with the jaw and teeth of an orangutan and a tooth from a chimpanzee. But it fooled everybody for a few years and turned out to be a complete fraud. There you go. Piltdown Man, 1912. Fate or fact? Are you ready? The first commercial music compact disc, CD, pressed in the United States, right, was Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. Pressed at the opening of CBS Records CD production plant in beautiful downtown Terre Haute, Indiana, in September 1984. There you go. Happy birthday to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Is that right? Is that right? Stone Cold Steve Austin. All right, Derrel Sims is going to be with us at the bottom of the hour. Now, so tonight, fate or not, yeah, it's a little emotional around here. Tonight locks down 5 years of Fade to Black. I'm toasting to you right now with this River Moon coffee. That's right. 5 years. Tomorrow is our anniversary. I totally forgot about it, too. I totally forgot. Renee emailed me today, congrats. I can't believe it's been 5 years. I was like, whoa, what? Right? 5 years. Completely got away from me. So, more on that. I'm going to get back to that. So tonight, Derrel Sims is wrapping up our 5 years. 1 year ago today, on December 18th, Derrel Sims was our guest. How strange how the universe works, right? And tomorrow, Richard is going to be our last guest of the year on our 5-year anniversary as we start year 6. Pretty incredible, right? But what I can't figure out is, where did the time go? 5 years in the can. 5 years. And it got me thinking, right? How did we get here? How did we get here? And I don't know if I've ever told the story, the real story. I mean, I've talked about, bits and pieces here and there, and I've done other interviews where I've talked about this. I might have mentioned it on the show a little bit, little snippets here and there. But it's the real story, right? The real story. And it goes back, honestly, to 1985 in Pasadena, California. And before I go into, when I was a kid, I was 5 years old listening to the radio. No. But the start was in 1985 in Pasadena, California. And back then, I taught guitar at this music store called Pasadena Music. I think that's what it was, Pasadena Music on Colorado Boulevard. And which closed down many, many, many years ago, but Pasadena Music Center. So I taught guitar there. And one of my students was named John Coutant, and who went on to a fabulous career playing guitar in different bands in Hollywood. Very, very talented kid. And he was young. And I'm thinking, when he started taking guitar lessons from me, I'm going to guess here and say 14, 15 years old. And, I was 20, 21 at the time. And we became friends. I mean, he was just a really, really gifted player. Really cool. And one day, he invited me over to his house. Actually, his father was picking him up from the guitar lessons and called me down to the car and invited me over to their house to have dinner. And it might have even been Thanksgiving. It could have been. But anyway, to have dinner with the family. And his dad, Stan Coutant, taught radio and broadcasting for Pasadena City College. And I didn't know that at the time. But so during dinner, and Stan is telling me about PCC, which was right next door to where the Pasadena Music Center was and everything right there, Colorado and Hill Street. And during dinner, Stan had asked me if I had ever considered getting into radio. And of course I said, no, man, I'm a guitar player, man. I'm a rock star, right? Whatever. But he invited me to come over to PCC and sit in on a class and check out their studio. And I did do that. I went over and hung out. And, but I never took the class. I didn't. And looking back, maybe I should have, but whatever. I didn't take the class. But what did happen was that old Stan planted that idea in my brain, and it never left. And he had said to me, he goes, dude, man, have you ever heard your voice? Your personality. Have you ever heard? I was like, man, I can't stand my voice. Yeah, but man, on the radio, it could work. I was like, no, yeah, come on, man. I'm a guitar player. But it got stuck. What ended up happening was I went from watching the news to listening to the news. Stan messed me up. He messed me up for life. Started listening to the radio. Started listening to talk radio. At a young age, man. I was 20. I was 21 years old. I was out there partying and playing guitar. And suddenly listening to talk radio. Stan messed me up. And 9 years later, this is 1994. 9 years later, I, after a pretty crazy run in the music industry, I started working for a company here in Southern California called Alesis. And I spent the next 4 years on the road. When I say on the road, seriously on the road. I put about 4,000 miles a month on my car. I drove all over Southern California, all the music stores and schools and whatever. I was a rep, Southern California rep, and I drove. I drove everywhere. I drove to San Bernardino every other day, it seemed like. Palm Springs, San Diego, Orange County, Hollywood, every single day, just driving in the car. And I was listening to talk radio. Serious amounts of airtime going on with talk radio. Probably 8 hours a day of talk radio. Sometimes, if I was out there on the road, I wouldn't get home till 9, 10 o'clock at night. Driving in from Palm Springs or driving in from San Diego or Fountain Valley and, Tustin, El Toro. Man, that's all I did. Santa Barbara, So anyway, I started listening to talk radio. And this is what I got out of that. One very important thought. And that was that everyone on the radio never says what they really want to say. That they were all holding back. And I listened to so much talk radio that I could feel it. I could tell what was actually going on, but I couldn't figure out why. I felt like they were all saying the things that they felt others wanted them to say, not what they wanted to say. And there's a big difference there. So I decided right then and there that I was going to jump into radio. But if I ever had the chance, if I ever had the opportunity, right, that I would never hold back, that I would be myself, that I would never phone it in, that I would always be sincere, that I would find the things that make me happy and talk about them, because the talking heads on the radio weren't talking about the things that made them happy. You didn't know anything about them, and I could tell that they were holding back, right? I wanted to always be sincere. And I thought to myself, I'm not unique. I'm not. I like music. I like food. I like movies. I like cars. I like guitars. I like video games, UFOs, conspiracy. There's got to be millions out there that are just like me, that would want to have a show that talk about the things that are, them, right? Because if I had a show like that, and that's how Fade to Black made it through the last 5 years. It's how we did it. And we're going to be around for 5 more. And 5 more after that. Seriously. And speaking of gamers, I want to get this thought out there. Because I talk about the UFO community and how it's growing. Let me tell you something. There is a community out there that's much larger than the UFO community, and it's the gamer community, the sci-fi community, right? Where these gaming companies and publishers of sci-fi material and comics, producing movies and everything. There are writers out there and creators of that content that know an awful lot about ET, about theory, about physics, about time travel, about the universe, about our galaxy, the theories, the ships, faster than light travel, right? They really, really get it, and they believe in ET and alien contact. And they don't necessarily mix back into our community, but they're out there and they are thriving. And if you ever get into or have an opportunity to talk to a game developer, they are probably have a physics background, a science background, because they are able to incorporate all of these ideas into these amazing books and storylines, and Planet Earth and Contact. It's extraordinary. And that's another part of Fade to Black, in bridging that gap, bringing in the gaming community and the sci-fi community and the authors of those, because they study what we study. And it's a way to get all of this message across. And to blend in, and going into the music community, it's the same thing there. It's absolutely amazing, and that's how Fade to Black got here. That's it. 5 years down, locked down. After the show tonight, done. Tomorrow is the start. It's our 5th anniversary and the start of our 6th year on the air. I want to thank all of you that take the time to hang out and schedule your life around this show every night, to come hang out and be part of this family. It means so much to us. And yeah, it's December. Yeah, it's the holidays. Yeah, we're all sentimental, and I get all of that. But it's because of you, okay? So from Rita, myself, everybody here at Fade to Black, thank you. I'm going to get out of here. Get right to our tonight's guest, Derrel Sims, the alien hunter. Unbelievable. Such an honor. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio. Simple enough. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I'll be right back with Derrel Sims, the alien hunter. Be right back on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, folks. It's a holiday season with hope in the air. Things to look forward to and no time for despair. Health can be a challenge, and so can the mail. So Get the Tea wants to help you by giving you a sale. Buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month for free. No limit. That's buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month free. That's a savings of $35. Where? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Scroll down on the front page and find the buy 2, get 1 free ad. Click it and save. Orders over $100 get free shipping. Send the gift of life. Change tea at GetTheTea.com. We have many non-GMO organic supplements just waiting for you. This holiday season, enjoy health and Thanksgiving with GetTheTea.com. Want to call us? 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. GetTheTea.com is a proud sponsor of doing what's right. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, the planet. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, Derrel Sims is here. Tomorrow night, Richard Bleepin Dolan. Thursday night is Fader Night. Open lines all night long with Teresa Yannaris and Divine Frequency on the airwaves. But tonight, it's Derrel Sims. He's the world's leading expert on alien abductions. His 40-plus years of field research has focused on physical evidence and led to his groundbreaking discoveries of alien implants and, of course, alien fluorescence. He is a compassionate and skilled therapist who has helped hundreds of experiencers all over the world come to terms with what they have witnessed, except for me. Well, at least not yet. We'll probably talk about that tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about all of the recent developments of his most provocative and ongoing cases, and we're going to talk about the year that was, 2018. We're going to talk about UFOs. We're going to talk about aliens, ET, contact, and disclosure. We're going to do it all tonight with Derrel. And, of course, his website is alienhunter.org. I'd like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Derrel Sims. Derrel, good evening, my friend. How are you?
Hello, Jim.
Are you there? Are you okay? You sound like you hiccuped. Are you, after all of these years of you being on this show, I don't think you're nervous.
Not at all.
This is what's amazing, Derrel, is tonight wraps in the can 5 years of Fade to Black, and it's an honor to have you on with us tonight on such a great evening. But on top of that, you were with us last year on this date, December 18th, and you're here with us again, and we're wrapping up another year in ufology and staying above ground on planet Earth. How are you?
I am just fine. Absolutely. This better can be than I should expect, I guess. I'm just delighted, happy, and delighted to be here tonight.
This year, Derrel, you've been doing this for 4 decades. 4 decades. That's crazy when you think about it. I'm sitting here talking about 5 years of Fade to Black. You've been doing this for 40 years. Was 2018 for you a pretty significant year, pretty crazy year in ufology?
It really was. 2018, I was just looking the other night at some of our cases, and I've got 2,000 cases, over 2,000 worldwide. But I just noticed some of them just this last year or so, and then I started going backwards after that. And the amount of injuries among abductees this year was shocking to me, even more so. And when I say injuries, I mean when contact happens, sometimes these people don't come out quite as well as they went in, and they'll come out bruised or cuts, scrapes, and things like that, and missing time, and some of them come out a lot worse than that. Even some of the animals that end up in some of these contact events don't turn out very well.
When you and Derrel has sent me a collection of photographs that we're not going to post them tonight, and I apologize for that in advance, but some of them are pretty, when I say graphic, they're also personal. But some of these injuries and this physical side of things is pretty shocking. And I think that there are those out there that will look at the ET hypothesis as being benevolent. That is all that there is, and there's a strong case for that, and I understand it, but clearly that is not the case with all abduction and contact experiences. And so, before we move forward in discussing some of these images, for you, how do you define contact and abduction? How do you define that? Is abduction something that isn't voluntary?
Well, the fact is that abduction, by the nature of its statement and its definition, is being taken without your permission. And some people, once they see the entity involved, they may have a viewpoint that, well, these are bigger, higher beings than I, and therefore whatever they're doing is right or just, and therefore I should go along with it, and I'm okay with it. There's that viewpoint, which are called contactees. Then there are people called abductees, which are people I fit in. And these are people that are taken, again, without their permission, but they don't like it. And the reason I didn't like it so much is because, number one, it was violent at some points. But the thing that bothered me more than anything was they came after my son. Now, you can take me and do whatever you want, and I'll get over it. I'm a big guy. I can figure this out.
Right.
But when you come after my children, you're in a lot of trouble. You'll turn out making me into an alien hunter.
Well, that's exactly what happened. And so, with that idea put into place, when somebody has a situation that they are involved in, should they assume a few things out of the gate? Should they assume that this may not be a pleasant experience? This may not be, frolicking in the mist, amongst a bunch of flowers in a field? That it's probably not going to go that way?
Well, it honestly, it really depends on the program that the alien is running on you. If he's running a program where they want you to feel special, unique, or chosen, or whatever, in some cases they actually told the abductee they were like Johnny Appleseed, and you're here to plant all these seeds about what we want done, and everybody's supposed to believe you. And there's that viewpoint. And these are, again, contactees, and they believe very strongly that their viewpoint is correct. And that's fine. But my point is, it isn't a matter of, is it positive or is it negative? It's a program. And if the program being run on you is a very pleasant one, then as far as you're concerned, it's all pleasant and everybody else is wrong. But to me, it's a matter of the program. If they're running a program on a cow, as an example, that's called mutilation, that's probably not going to be a very positive outcome for the cow. But the point is, it's still a program. I mean, we can say it's horrible or it's evil or those were the bad aliens. The good aliens don't do that. That's just not true. The fact is, they do what they're told to do. It just depends on the program.
Is there anything personal going on here in that do the aliens or, these different civilizations that are doing this, do they have emotions? I mean, do they care, or is this just science? Well,
I honestly, I have two answers to that, and their questions are sharp, they're pointed, and they're very good, and they're also difficult to answer because there are very few really snap little answers that'll answer all of this. The fact is that, for instance, I've done 25 surgeries worldwide on the alien implant. And this has taken me all over the world doing meeting these remarkable people. Some of them, there again, feel like it was wonderful. Whatever happened to them, it was fine and kind and good. Although when you work with them hypnotically and other things, you find out often these stories are not even remotely true in their experience in terms of it was all pleasant and so on, when it actually wasn't. But the fact is that some of the so-called surgical cases done upon these people are more akin to use the words of Jacques Vallée, more akin to something that you might read about in demonic literature in the 12th, 13th, 14th century. It just doesn't make any sense. When you look at it from a medical context, and we've got doctors that assist us in doing this, some of this stuff just doesn't add up at all. It just doesn't make any sense.
When we look at this, we're talking about cattle mutilations and some of these events that have been documented for decades now. This has gone on for a long time. One would have to hypothesize that there's the possibility that this very same stuff goes on with humans too as well. Is there human mutilations that occur?
The answer to the question is yes. By and large, they are generally rare or rarer than certainly animal mutilations. But the fact is that human mutilations do occur. And if you look at many contact events with abductees, you can actually say that mutilations are quite often occurring when you consider, for instance, like this one young man, it came to me at a conference and everything. He showed me his wound. I had my assistant with me, was a assistant professor at the University of Washington in AIDS research, and he pulled up his shirt on his back, and at the top of his buttocks there was a 2-inch by 4-inch layer of skin and muscle missing. I said, "How did this happen?" He said, "I don't know how to tell you this other than I took off running. I'm a runner, and I was doing my running, and I had missing time, and I come back, and there's this big section of skin missing on me." Well, that's mutilation. There's no question about it. And again, you say, well, it was for scientific reasons they took it. Look, they've been doing so-called DNA tests on us for thousands of years. How long does it take to do a DNA sampling on a population? Not long. We can do it real easy. It's not difficult to do. But to do this many and on so many different people, the ruse, in my opinion, is it's the DNA research. The fact is, they're way ahead of that game. That's just a story that they tell people.
With the recent scientific developments going on with our galaxy, and certainly with the universe, and the counts of planets and stars that we just didn't have a grip on 15, 20 years ago, and the last 2, 3, 4 years, some extraordinary numbers now are being presented to us. And one of them is that our Milky Way has about 100 billion planets, probably as many planets or more than the stars that are in our Milky Way. Now, what that suggests is the amount of intelligent civilizations out there that are much more advanced than us are ginormous numbers. I mean, crazy big, not 10,000, but 10 million, right? It's a crazy, or more. It's you pick the number. So what that would also suggest is that there are a lot of different civilizations visiting this planet, and it's not just the same ones over and over again doing these same tests, but it could be somebody that doesn't even know about the other civilization being here, or that they were told about Earth from another civilization. Go check this out, right? And these tests are happening over and over again on so many because we're being visited by so many.
That brings up two major questions for me, or actually three statements. First is the Drake's equation, which basically says that, exactly as you wonderfully stated, there are so many different possibilities out there, so many planets, so many stars. There must be millions of civilizations out there. You know, who knows however many there are. I don't know. I haven't been there. But that's clearly illustrated in the Drake equation. Then you go to Fermi, and his concept is simply, it's clear. It basically states, okay, Drake's equations, so to speak, is correct. We're the aliens. In other words, if you ask the government, where are the aliens? What aliens are you talking about, weirdo? You need to be in a mental home. I mean, you see my point?
I do.
If hundreds of thousands of these civilizations are out there, for many basically saying they would have been here before man was even here. So therefore, you should go out in the desert of New Mexico or anywhere, drive out down the road and find a moon base, so to speak, on our property, on planet Earth. But where are these bases at? I suspect that they are here, but in fact, most of them are probably underwater or under ice.
And what was the third thought that you had?
The third thought is one that was a man that I favored a great deal. He died of the same disease my dad did, and that was Lou Gehrig's disease. And the scientist that passed away made an amazing statement. He said, everybody needs to stop trying to contact these aliens. Now, this is an amazing statement from scientists, from the top scientists in the world. And And everybody's like, what? What are you talking about? He said, wait a minute. He said, think about how well that worked out with a higher civilization meeting lesser civilizations, so to speak, how well that worked out for the Native Americans or the South Americans or any other culture on the planet. If higher cultures met lower cultures, the lower culture is going to be assimilated or become slaves or simply disappear. And many civilizations have gone that way, so to speak. Even some societies in some nations of cultures, ancient Sumerians and Warkans and others who enjoined these so-called alien beings, those civilizations are now extinct. They're no longer with us. These so-called advanced civilizations of mankind at the time, they're no longer here. I wonder how well we'll fare.
Well, and I often think that we have always considered ourselves unique. You know, that Earth is in the perfect spot. It's a rare situation, and how we got here, and liquid water and oxygen and life and all of that. But the reality is we are far from unique. That just maybe, of course, ET is interested in our planet. We have life here, right? There's life. But they are also visiting millions of other planets out there that are just as nice as ours. that are just as cool and has life or not. But that maybe we're just not that unique. There isn't a reason to come and invade and take us over, because there's other planets out there that are equally as nice. And they're interested in us. They want to log us. They want to look at us scientifically. But there's no reason to invade us, because there's 10 million other Earths out there that are really nice too.
Well, I don't think invasion is part of the program. I never have believed that. There are those who do think that and have a real negative viewpoint and said, oh, we're in a lot of trouble and all that. And that may be true. But basically, I don't think invasion never was part of the program. I think if invasion exists, they're already here. I think they've been here for a long time, and I think every culture that you go to, I'm Native American, Scott, Irish, and in every one of those cultures, and I've been to many other countries from Turkey to other nations, and in every one of their cultures, there's ancient cultures, all has myths or stories of these so-called little people or these alien beings or whatever you want to refer to them as, extraterrestrials or whatever. And every one of these cultures is told a different story by the alien. The aliens seem to be the same basic 7 primary flavors that we see in our literature, mm-hmm. and we seem to see those fairly often, even in ancient petroglyphs and pictorials on the walls of in India, in Africa, in South America, and in the Southwest of the United States. These pictorials seem to suggest about 7 primary major flavors of alien, so to speak, which in my opinion aren't 7 races. They're in fact just 7 DNA-produced entities, and the DNA, in my opinion, comes from planet Earth.
Yeah, and when you look at it in those terms, the contact, when somebody says, well, why aren't they hanging out with us today? Like they did back with the earlier civilizations here on Earth. And it's actually a very simple answer, which is back then they knew we didn't have electricity. We didn't have radios. We didn't have telephones or anything like that. And we hadn't come far enough in our development to be alarmed, right? These ETs could have been anything from another shore, another continent, another land here on Earth, not necessarily from space. And we interacted with them differently. They know now, today, that we are much more advanced and scientifically involved, and we can think and communicate. And that kind of interaction today would not be the same for them. So they simply can't interfere or talk to us today. And that's the way that I look at it, and it makes a lot of sense.
That's certainly you're going to have your whole radio program at Contact in the Desert. And the reason I like that, you did that at Roswell as well. And the reason I like that is because you bring on so many different viewpoints. Everyone gets to hear so many different ideas. And the discussion and debate about various ideas and various possibilities, to me, is the healthiest way to look at the UFO phenomena. It isn't one way or another. It's to look at the whole picture and see what you can come up with. I think it's a very good way. It's an educational way to look at the phenomena. Well, but my viewpoint is a little different than that. But that's the nature of the beast.
Well, we'll discuss that when we come back, and it's talking to researchers like yourself that I do night after night after night. I'm here just learning, right? I'm collecting information. The audience is listening along with us, and they're collecting the same information, and that's it's a service. I'm providing a service here, but that's exactly what's going on, and it reminds me of, and I've said this enough. Giorgio Tsoukalos, a couple of years ago when he was on, he said something that I've never forgotten, which is, Jimmy, when E.T. gets here, really lands and steps off the ship and we start talking, we will find out that all of us, everybody, was wrong. Right? That's we don't know nothing. And that is probably is about as solid of a statement or a thought and a safe zone to go into that I can think of, because we're talking about an extraterrestrial species. Right? We don't know for sure.
There's two primary views. They're extraterrestrial, or they're other dimensional, or somewhere else.
Sure.
The answer is still out there on that one. But I spoke at a consciousness conference years ago at the University of Wyoming for a professor there, a good friend of mine, and of course, my viewpoint was different than a number of the people there, and so they were wondering, what is he going to say? And I got up there and I said, the first thing I'd like to say to all of you is that I'm kind of a nuts and bolts guy. I like to, when I flew up here, I looked at the airplane to make sure all the little, when I was looking out the window at the wing, I wanted to make sure all the little nuts and everything were in there properly, and that's kind of important to me, especially when I'm on the aircraft. They just kind of laughed, and I said, concerning the UFO phenomena, I think it's safe to have that kind of an attitude as well. And I said, for instance, I think that the UFO phenomena per se is weird. It's just a giant bus, so to speak. And that bus, and we're just a bunch of dogs chasing the bus. One of these days, that bus is going to stop. And I think we're all going to be real surprised by who gets off of the bus.
Got that
and
right.
And we're probably going to be looking for some metaphorical fire hydrants.
Yeah, you got that right. Let's take a break right here, Derrel, and we'll pick up the conversation where we're leaving off right here. Our guest tonight, Derrel Sims, the alien hunter, is with us. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, and we'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas. Come join us for the 2019 Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton. This year, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Daniken, and I'll be hosting the panel with Eric, Linda Moulton Howe, Jason Martell, Billy Carson, and David Wilcock. Join George Norrie, Nassim Haramein, Robert Schock, Daniel Brinkley, Grant Cameron, Julia Mossbridge, Teresa Yannares, and another 50 speakers who will be presenting at the 2019 Conscious Life Expo. Just go to ConsciousLifeExpo.com for tickets and a full conference schedule, or click on the CLE banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with, you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Reclaim your active lifestyle with Angioprim. Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in your veins and arteries that can cause blockages. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com. Talk to a trained consultant by calling Angioprim toll-free 877-882-7221.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. And Derrel, what's your Twitter?
I don't have a Twitter account. I have one, but I'm not even using it.
See, I knew that. I wanted you to say it. I didn't want to say it for you. But you can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Daryl's got a Twitter account out there. I don't use it either because he doesn't use it. And there you go. Derrel, if of course we're being visited, but I'm going to phrase the question like this. If we are being visited, how are they getting here? You've interviewed thousands. You've done all of these regression therapy sessions. You've had contact yourself. How are they getting here?
Great question. And the answer is, as usual, multiple. The two primary views that most people have, especially scientists and others, are that they're getting here through basically traveling through a bubble, and basically in the bubble allows them to travel at enormous speeds. They could go across the universe within hours. That's a distinct possibility. I mean, the science is there that we can even understand to show that's possible. So the extraterrestrial hypothesis, it could happen that way. There's another view that they're coming in dimensionally. That one has a lot of credibility as well, in my opinion, because some of the science even supports that. For instance, I was talking to a DSP satellite specialist one time, and he said he had a top secret clearance, and so did I. And he was pretty impressed with what I was saying at a conference in Los Angeles years ago. And he said, You look at the alien from the infrared, ultraviolet, and visible light. He said, visible light, I understand, because they have marks. They leave marks and cuts and things on these people. That's evidence that they were there. But why would you look in infrared and ultraviolet? And I said, because the alien sees in infrared, ultraviolet, visible light, and X-ray, in my opinion. And he just sat there stunned. And he said, well, that's fascinating to me. And I said, why is that? And he said, because I work for the DSP Satellite Systems, which is Defense Systems Program satellites, 18 geosynchronous satellites around the Earth, and they're all pointed at the Earth, not in space. And he said they can read your watch if you held your arm real steady and that sort of thing. He said, that's not even classified. And I said, and he says, well, they see in the infrared, ultraviolet, and visible range all at the same time. And I said, let me ask you a question. When a fast walker, I said, because as far as the government is concerned, there are no flying saucers. There's no such thing as the word. So when you ask the question, they'll treat you like you're an idiot or you're uninformed. But when a fast walker or slow walker, that means something that's not our craft, that's moving in our space, faster or slower than it should be. Has DSP ever seen those? And he said thousands and thousands of them. And he said they're all logged. I said, are you trying to tell me that these contact cases, UFO contact and abduction cases, have literally been recorded by a DSP satellite program, and there's a record of it? The government's had it all along, and everybody's still talking about when's the disclosure coming, and does the government really know? Of course they know. The government at large doesn't know anything. They just don't. They don't even know what they're doing. But the fact is, the certain portions of the government do know their information. They know it extremely well. And so the DSP satellite program is seeing these fast and slow walkers in infrared, ultraviolet, and visible light. And the reason I said that is I said when a UFO is sitting there, so to speak, or a fast or a slow walker is just sitting there, it just stops, and then all of a sudden it fades out or fades to clarity or fades to black or whatever it is.
Right.
What happened? And I said, in my opinion, I think it's just moving to the infrared and ultraviolet range out of our visible light spectrum. And he just smiled and said, that would be true.
And we have to consider this because obviously our vision is one thing, what we physically see with our eyes, and other animals and birds and insects, they see different spectrums too as well. But there's also just the simple idea of this is the dimension that we live in too as well. There could be another frequency, another dimension that is completely different than what we are experiencing right now on this planet. I mean, just an entire world and a whole nother living space that is right here next to us, but we're not in the same frequency.
Well, that's very true. And that makes a lot of sense. And sometimes I have different thoughts about this sort of thing, and especially when events happen that don't make any sense, not necessarily UFO, but other events. And my simplistic explanation to some of these people who experience some of these bizarre things that are quite real is, I said, sometimes I think another universe, so to speak, gets too close to ours, and it literally gets close enough that they just touch. And what you're seeing or experiencing at that point in time in your event is the result of that, and you're seeing other things that they're not here. They are not in this realm, and they don't make any sense, and you're seeing it. And some of it may even be the past, the present, or the future, but it's real. And then whenever that universe moves further away from us, however that happens or however it may happen, it'll just fade out and disappear. Event's over.
Yeah, I think it happens quite often, and I'm okay with it. In that, well, first off, it's just nature. But are you okay with it?
I'm okay with it because to me it's absolutely fascinating that you can see and experience things that are just off the charts, and just there is just no scientific rationale for it. And the Skinwalker Ranch is a good example, if I may use that as an example. Some of my some people I know that were involved in the Skinwalker Ranch scientific study, after it was over, they said they wished they had not used, quote unquote, the science to do the study. And if I would have been involved in that, I'd advise them not to do that to begin with. You're going to either run the thing off, you're going to get the wrong, you're not going to get the results you want. It's not going to happen. It's going to show you don't know anything. You're not there. You can't play in this game. You have to approach it from other points of view. And a good example of again, this other possible universes or something coming close, they've got, as best I remember from the story, you got George Knapp out there sitting in the middle of this field, and they said, "Why don't you sit out there?" And he says, "Why? What?" And he finally inquires, and they said, "Well, we think that might be a portal or something where something comes in." And he said, "What?" He said, "You got me sitting out here?" And he jumps up and he says, what came through here before? And be careful, listen to exactly what I'm saying. They said, "Well, we don't know what it was, but it looked like Predator."
Yeah, right. Exactly. And there's another aspect to this. When you have interviewed those that were either contactees or abductees, and they speak about these rooms or the table or the interaction and the ET standing around them, we hear so often about somebody dressed in the military standing in the room, indicating that our government representatives were part of the group. I know that you've heard this a lot, and when you hear this, what are your conclusions?
Well, in some cases, there's no question that the person's is being used by the alien and the alien will produce what I refer to as the true false memory syndrome. And that is simply they will project imagery that is simply not there. Case in point, one young man was involved in an abduction. He said, something was wrong with this picture. He said, there's my dad reading the newspaper, there's my mom washing the dishes, and there's my dog next to my dad. He said it just didn't make any sense. And he kept shaking his head, and he comes out of it, and he realizes that there's 3 aliens standing there. And, of course, the question asked was, what made you realize that something's wrong with that picture? He said, our dog's been dead for months. Well, the alien sometimes doesn't get all their information correct when they're using their false imagery on you, and they simply projected the dog there, and it wasn't. There were only 3 aliens there all along. Sometimes they'll use the military, and sometimes they do this on purpose. Sometimes the purpose is to make people doubt their own government, in my opinion. Sometimes there may be military people there. I don't know because I wasn't there. I can't say whether wasn't. But I know in some of these cases, as in the case with the young man with the dog and the mom and the dad, that event simply didn't happen. There were 3 aliens there projecting that imagery. That in many of these events, they project things like owls, giant, large deer, anything with large black eyes. You'll often see that as part of the imagery. And people, and there's a lot to be said about that. But basically, the false memory syndrome is used by the alien to their advantage for whatever reason, good, bad, or ugly. It's their show, and they pretty much run it.
How did the when that happens, are they relieved that okay, that was a memory that was implanted, so it wasn't necessarily what I thought that it was, right? The dog that had been dead, for years or something like that. Is that usually what happens, or does it go the other direction where that really freaks people out because the ETs were real and they implanted this memory, so the event did happen, and that's a holy crap moment?
Another case in point, we have 2 people in a family that are abductees. A guy's an engineer, and the sister is just a housewife, and she's by normal standards of science and this sort of thing, she's not a technical person. This guy is, and they're both abductees, and he doesn't like the experience. He came to me and asked me to talk to him, work with him a little bit and everything, and he just absolutely hates the experience and hates the alien. And I said, okay. And I said, well, you can come to our support group anytime you'd like. And he said, nothing wrong with me. I said, there's nothing wrong with these people either. It's just nice to know that your experiences can be validated by other people. Anyway, he said no. But he called me about a year later, and he said, I need to talk to you immediately. Please come over here immediately. I did. And he said, please work with me right now. He said, so I've had the most positive experience in my life. I'm so excited I can't understand it. And I said, well, so I did what is called waking hypnosis with him. That means we're sitting there talking, and he goes into trance and starts pulling up tons of data from his memory bank, so to speak. And he sees the most beautiful woman. The best way to describe this is anything you can imagine as the best perfect woman ever existed for your knowledge and your neurology, your physiology, everything, she would have been it for him. And she smiles and looks at him and talks to him and says, I want you to go to Derrel's support group now. He said, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not going to those. The guy's real arrogant. I mean, he is. And you don't tell him anything. It's not going to happen. And she said, do you like me? And he said, well, yeah, you're perfect and all that. And she says, I want you to go to Derrel's support group. And he said, no. I mean, this is the way he really truly is. And, here's this unbelievable woman, a person of his dreams, so to speak, and he's telling her no about everything. And she finally gets mad at him and says, I want you to go to Derrel's support group, and I want you to do it right away. They're having a meeting. The amazing thing is that whoever this woman was knew when the support group was. She knew what was going to be taught. And she was upset about it, and she wanted to know what it was and wanted him to report back with what it was I had taught. So long story short, he says, no, I'm not going. And for about the fourth time, and she reaches down and touches the knee, his right knee. He had a previous, when he was in high school, a football injury where his knee got folded backwards. And she accessed that memory and brought back all the pain rapidly. And as he started screaming, she says, you will go to the support group meeting, and you will. And he kept screaming everything. And at that point, this is amazing. He popped out of under her control, and he sees her for who she truly was. It was the gray alien again, using his consciousness of the most perfect woman that ever could have been. And it was a ruse. I mean, this is not uncommon. And he was so angry, he was just cussing and screaming when it was over. He just said, I can't believe I got fooled. They did this and did that. But he's just that way. He's just real arrogant. But here was a good example of somebody that got played for everything. And what amazed me about that whole story wasn't just the fact that she got him and that he even figured it out, but that she wanted to know what it was I was teaching in that support group that week.
What about the darker side of this, and that's the possibility of the military staging abductions?
Oh, that's entirely possible. When I say that, I don't know that to be true because I was never part of anything like that. I was a volunteer during the Vietnam War, and I actually quit college to do that, and to help in the war effort. Believe me, I didn't like the war. I don't like war, period. But the fact is, if our country is going to be at war, it'd be better to send me than some of these college kids that are not going to. They're not, number one, not going to survive. Number two, if they do survive and they come back, they're going to be in terrible shape, as you see from a lot of our vets with PTSD and with severe cases. But in cases like, I know for a fact, I can verify this part for you easily, and the rest, and anyone else can just make it up or imagine the rest of it. But the fact is that our intelligence communities and every other intelligence community has done the same thing. Mossad, KGB, it doesn't make any difference. They all do it and have done it. We have, in fact, hijacked people, taken people in war zones and other places from other countries, and we've abducted them. We have. And I don't know of any case where they, quote unquote, used alien mask and went out and, made them think aliens got them, that sort of thing. I mean, I have actually cases contrary to that. But my point is that, has the intelligence community done it? Of course they have. Yes, they have, and I know about it personally. I mean, I was in the CIA for 2 years. I guarantee you that kind of stuff's going on. And it just has. And we've done it in other countries, and 99% of it's done overseas. I suspect that some of it could have easily been done in the United States as well. Could they have used an alien background and to do this sort of thing, or even been involved in the alien thing? That's entirely possible. I wasn't there, so I honestly don't know.
Yeah, Hollywood can build a set, right? Well, anybody could build a set, and that would be absolutely convincing. And if you are, drugged and incapacitated and you witness something like this, you're going to be, out of all kinds of sorts. But you can also go and tell the story, and it makes you wonder, you're going to share your experience. Well, I would assume that you would with somebody. And, why do that? What would the reason be behind that, Derrel? Why would they stage something?
Well, from an intelligence point of view, there may be some of their own particular reasons. I'll give you one on a personal level. A guy called me I was on a radio program many years ago, and a guy called me on the phone later. I left my phone number out, And he called me and he identified himself, and I told him these words. I know that you're hurting. I know you're probably an abductee. I know you want help. I'm going to give you the best advice I possibly can, and I hate doing this. You need to get off the phone right now. Hang the phone up, get off the phone, and don't call me again. And the guy was nearly in tears. And I said, you're part of a listening post. It's so far above my pay grade. I said, you don't understand. I said, they're not interested in me. I am not the big shot some people would like for me to be in the UFO world. I'm not. I've known some important people and all that. I'm not the hot shot. The hot shot is you. And it's not me they're watching. It's the people that contact me. And you are going to lose your career. Now, in that context, could the intelligence boys provide an alien abduction scenario and use it on someone like him? I could understand how they would do that in a case like that, because they want to know exactly what he knows, what happened to him, and so on. Because he's in a high-level listening situation, you can't afford to have people like him as a loose cannon, so to speak, or believing in flying saucers and so on, especially when they're real, and him finding out things that he should not know. So you might want to manipulate his information or find out at least what he knows.
Did he ever contact you again?
No, he did not. He took my advice. And it broke my heart because I have an online support group. I take care of people. I love people. I don't charge them a penny. The work that we do is philanthropic. I don't have a money-making ongoing business out of this. I keep my family broke, basically, because of me spending my money on people's stuff, trying to help them out.
Right.
Because I know what they're going through. It breaks my heart. But and I've never turned anybody down. He was the first one I ever turned down. And the reason was he's going to lose his career. And I was afraid of something like what you're talking about right here might happen to him. And the best thing for him to do was hang the phone up and hope to God that they did not know. But the reason it bothered me, because there was a friend of mine who was a former cryptologist in the intelligence community. He was working for me as my webmaster at the time. He called me the next day on the phone, cussing me out, and I said, hey, don't talk trash to me like that. Don't talk to me like that. He said, you had no business. You went out, and he said, what did you do? And I said, I just went out on this radio program and dropped some coded little terms that I wanted to know if anybody was listening. He said, well, they were. And he started screaming again. I said, knock it off. What is the problem? He said, our website, your website, Alien Hunter website was hit 250 times last night. I said, that's not very many. He said, that was just the intelligence community. He said, 3 of those computers were in the White House. Wow. He was screaming. He was so mad. He said, whatever you did, don't do it again.
Are you sitting down?
I am.
We are hit on average, JimmyChurchRadio.com, 19,000 attacks, 19,000 attempts at our passwords every day.
There you go.
Every single day. Let's take a break right here. I know, Derrel, you're absolutely right. They're out there, they are listening, and it's insane. But we've got the situation on lockdown. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Derrel Sims. It's Fade to Black. When we come back, we're going to talk about Derrel's photographs that he sent me. I also want to talk about his own personal abduction experience, and we'll do all of that and much more after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products, available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Derrel Sims, the alien hunter. Yeah, he was with us a year ago today, December 18th, and this is our conclusion of our fifth year on the air, and we're doing it with Derrel Sims tonight. Derrel, thank you for taking the time and joining us once again. You sent me a collection of photographs from this year. This is now. I'm going to write out a disclaimer. These photographs will not be published. Don't say where are these photographs. I will describe them to you, but some of it is for me. I mean, it's pretty shocking stuff. The first one is of a bicep and this contusion on the arm. Now, before we get to what is here, what's the story behind the photograph? What happened to this guy?
Well, the photograph was actually sent to me by a doctor, a friend of mine, who is an abductee himself.
He looks
what he
like
was doing was giving me a quick lesson in how to determine how these bruisings and what's actually happening medically, the pathology with these bruisings. It is a good example. Sometimes you'll get an abductee will have a bruise that's light brown, like in this particular photograph, and they'll say, I think that happened last night. Well, it didn't. It would take 7 days for that kind of bruising, that big a bruise, to turn kind of a yellowish to a light brown. You're looking at about a week's time to do that. Normally they're red and black and blue and pretty damaged up, and that happens pretty quickly. That's going to be within hours or minutes or whenever, depending on the type of injury. And so he was trying to illustrate the point that when bruisings turn kind of a brown, they're healing up, in other words. And that's basically what they look like about a week later. So that, for an investigator in the field, that's kind of good information.
Interesting. Okay. I guess we all kind of maybe knew that because of bruises that we get and how they change over time. But what's interesting by you saying that, when somebody sees something and they say, well, yeah, this happened yesterday. Well, clearly it did not, or that there's something else going on.
Yeah, excellent statement. And the reason that's excellent for me is because, number one, they may not know that it didn't happen last night. And an example is the next person in the photograph below is an 18-year-old abductee girl, a lady in Houston, Texas, member of our organization, the Houston UFO Network. And one of our investigators was speaking to her one night, her and her mother, and she just happened to pull out these photographs. And boy, he yelled at me. He said, Derrel, you need to get over here right now. And when you look at the photographs, there are these bizarre bruisings on the back of her legs. And I have a pretty good idea what that is, what caused it. And I've not told her or anyone else until I verify it with a certain type of a medical doctor to get his opinion. And I think I'm going to be real close to right. But the point is, those bruisings are very, very brown, and they're very bizarre.
Now,
on the backs of her legs.
Yeah, before you say what you think caused this, let me describe to the audience what I'm seeing. I'm looking at the backs of her legs, and she's wearing shorts, so you can see all of her legs from the top of her thigh all the way down. You can see her feet, you can see her ankles. But on the backs of her thighs are each one have two straight line, large too, probably 8 inches from end to end, straight line bruises that look like, me looking at this, almost like a rope or some kind of, that's what we would jump to. We would think this first, right? We're not thinking ET necessarily, but and they are both like a half a triangle. I guess that's the best way to explain it. Each line comes to a point where they meet. So it's like a triangle without one line on it. So you have the two lines making these angles on the backs of each of her legs. Very frightening looking, and whatever caused this, it was big, and it looked like it was very, very painful.
It was no question it was intentional. The best information we have on it currently is that, based on their story and that information, is that it in fact was UFO related. And we think that, and I use the word think because I don't know yet, and I hate to speculate until I talk to this doctor and get some other information from the lady. I'll make a definitive statement, and I have permissions to post that later on our site, and I will. But I'd like to get the full story before we make a definitive statement on it. But basically, it's obviously a very painful experience. And again, Notice the reason I use the brown illustration. Notice the bruisings are brown.
Yes.
What does that mean? Well, the lady, 100% truthful. I mean, and we had her and her mother actually come to the Houston UFO Network last month and speak about their contact experiences. And they just straightened the hair on some of our contactees out there listening. They're just wanting to hear this positive, wonderful, uplifting stuff, and it didn't quite go that way. And the young lady doesn't know how they got on there. Well, that's my point. It took at least a week for this. She notices it one day, says, "Oh, weird, look at that." She looked in the mirror. Her mother's looking and said, "Well, what in the world is that?"
Right.
And it's been a week and she didn't even know. Whatever caused that, I assure you, was far worse than the impact on that man's bicep. This was painful. Mm-hmm. And she has no cognitive memory of these events. So obviously we'll go in and use some memory recovery techniques, hypnotically and non-hypnotically, to find out what actually happened to her.
Does she recall anything of, the obvious stuff, lights in the sky, missing time? Does she have anything like that to go along with this?
There's enough information about her event that suggests that she and both her mother and maybe even sister are abductees. There's no question about that. But we just got the case, so to speak, and we're just now looking into it. So I'll reserve that, and I'll certainly will report this next time I'm on your program, and we'll post the pictures and let everybody see them. But we'll know the whole story by then, and I've already talked to my specialist, a doctor, about his thoughts on this as well. And these are not UFO doctors, so to speak. They're not going to be real favorable to the UFO scenario. But the fact is, how in the world can you have bruisings like that and not even know? It just makes no sense. And for it to be there for at least a week, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to these people.
Yeah, my daughter comes home with this. Somebody's getting hurt.
Thank you.
That's traumatic.
Now Jimmy.
It's hard to look at. It's hard to look at. What
bothers me. See, you're going to become an alien hunter. I can sense it.
Now here, and I hate to see any of these photographs, but certainly this one is of a dog. It's somebody's pet. What happened here?
In this case, as a friend of mine, he got tired of his wife being sexually assaulted by the alien, and he said, I read some stories about you even waiting up on the alien one time with a Japanese sword, and I said that is correct, and it was because it was a member of the family. Again, like I said, these are not pleasant. This is all fun to talk about when it's someone else. When it's your family, it's not the same thing.
Now this is a Rottweiler.
So this is the guy's dog, and he's hoping one of these days the alien will make a mistake, and they do. I don't care how many people think they're millions of light years ahead of us. They make huge mistakes. And that's one of my reasons for thinking some of these guys are hatched, cloned, manufactured, or made for the purpose of interaction with mankind, and some of them are not that sharp. And the small gray is just a few bricks shy of a load, I guarantee you. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, even Bud Hopkins said before he passed away, he referenced one of my statements in a conference. He said these aliens are not. They make so many mistakes. He didn't use the statement I did. I'd say they make mistakes. Bud Hopkins simply said they were so stupid they couldn't even get your clothes on right. They get your clothes on inside out or backwards, not like you would put them on.
Right.
And you wake up in the morning and there your clothes are on backwards. Or what's weird is you got someone else's clothes on.
Right.
But in this case, the guy hoped that the alien would make a mistake and they would not show up and say, you can't wake up, you can't do this, you can't move or whatever. And they did. and he apparently hit the alien with the sword. And the reason I think the story is true is because I have the DNA of whatever that is. The dogs at this point, these are his dogs, attacked the alien. Now, all he remembers is the next morning is he woke up back in bed and everybody's normal. And the dogs are locked up in the cage. Now, that's really weird because they were out before. Well, what's weird about it is the dogs that attacked the alien and bit the alien, these Rottweilers, they died within 60 days, as I understand it. They starved to death. The veterinarian, because the abductee takes wonderful care of these animals. I mean, wonderful care of them. And these dogs literally were huge. I saw them before this. They're huge and are healthy, and they would protect those people with their lives, and apparently did. And now the dog is so emaciated to the point that it died in 60 days simply because of it was not, according to the veterinarian, able to absorb protein any longer.
Wow, incredible.
Starved to death.
Beautiful dog, too. Now, this next image is from this month. Now, okay, is this an arm or a leg?
This is excuse me. This is
oh, it's an arm. I got
it's
it.
It's an arm.
Now,
and the guy woke up. He said, "I don't understand this." He said, "I don't understand this at all." He said, "I wake up," and he said, "There's these strange marks imprinted in my arms." From he's got the alien-related story, of course, but he can't understand why. I mean, he said, have you ever seen these marks before? Well, the answer is yes. Marks very similar, but not necessarily these exact marks. But these marks, some of these marks, we've actually seen in fluorescence on people. And I hope that he would have checked himself with a black light, which I beg people to do over and over, because if the alien's actually touched you, or you've actually touched him, and you've touched this gray alien, he's picked you up, or vice versa, you've been in contact with him, there is a good possibility that there's fluorescence on you in some particular coloration. And the coloration, the kind of fluorescence, the nanometer length of the fluorescence, all has a meaning. And if you don't turn a black light on, you'll never see it. But fortunately, in this case, the markings were literally imprinted into the man's flesh.
I'm looking at this, and it's a symbol, right? It's clearly a symbol of some kind. I would love to have somebody take a look at this and see if they could figure out what it is, and if somebody has seen this before somewhere. But it looks like, I could be wrong, Derrel, but it looks like this was taken. Maybe it's a bathroom. It looks like a hospital, but maybe it's a bathroom. I'm just looking at the background here, but it's a symbol of some kind. It doesn't, and this kind of looks painful too as well. How long was this on his arm?
I don't know. I just literally got this night before last. I'm still communicating with the individual, and he is. It is his bathroom, and he was just mortified that this thing would be on his arm, and he can't grasp why the alien would do this sort of thing, or what is the point? And of course, the big answer to him is, the big question is, why me, and why is this on my arm? What's the point?
Does he remember anything?
At this point, I don't know. He just sent me the photograph and gave me permission to use it and to look at it and to have it examined. But
wow,
that's all we know so far. I am questioning him at this time. These literally are experiences that happened, I mean, within days ago.
Yeah, this is that's crazy looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks, man. It's not hieroglyphics. It's not quite that. It's not Sumerian. It's definitely a symbol. It says something, or it depicts something. But then, curiously for me, there's another half arc, and I know you've seen the same thing, above it, where it looks like there might have been another symbol. Do you know if it's still on his arm?
We've actually seen some of these symbols, the half arc above, above that, and the half arc almost a crescent moon is what it looks like.
That's what it looks like. Yes,
a 16-inch crescent moon is what it, or an eighth crescent moon. This particular symbol we've actually seen in fluorescence on a lady who worked at of all places at Walmart and was an abductee. Her and her friend came to me years ago, and the first thing I did is when I heard their story, I said, "Let me, if you don't mind, just check you over your visible areas to see if we find anything." And they wanted to know what, and I said, "Nothing. I just want to look." And they said, "Okay." And on her neck, behind the hair on her head, on her neck, right behind her ear, was this eighth moon, eighth version of the crescent moon, right there on her neck. It looked just exactly like it.
Wow, that's crazy looking.
Yes.
That's pretty creepy right there. That's deliberate, and it says something. That's nuts. Man, you've got to let me know what you find out about that.
I will. I promise you I will.
Now, this next shot is, I don't even know how to explain what I am looking at here. It's obviously somebody's stomach, very distorted, very traumatic. 4, is it 4? Maybe 5. Pretty gnarly, maybe 6 bruises of different colors. But that, okay, that's a crazy photograph. I mean, that's
one of these stories that troubles me. It's especially when you hear the ETH hypothesis. They're here to help us and fix the ozone hole, and they're helping us, and they're going to fix our DNA and so on. According to the surgeon who looked at this, he said it looked like somebody took a baseball bat and beat you half to death in the stomach. And the guy, he just woke up with this. And fortunately, a friend of mine, a top surgeon, was called by this abductee, and he called the surgeon, and the surgeon says, "Whatever you do, don't go to the VA hospital. Go to this hospital, one near you, immediately." And the doctor even called and made sure that he was seen immediately. And if they said he could have bled to death. I mean, whatever happened to him in his UFO experience, it was not pleasant, and it was, I hate to use this term, deliberate.
That is very difficult for me to look at. I mean, the first time that I saw it, I was just like, man. I don't need to see this. That's pretty crazy. There
were 2 grapefruit-sized light swellings that result. You can see the surface skin alone. The some of it's blue, some of it's black, some of it's green, some of it's it absolutely horrible.
Yeah, it
is. And there were many other pictures that I have of that as well, in different versions of it. But the point is that somebody worked him over, and he is an abductee of mine, and he has had amazing experiences, I can tell you. And I will tell you that he has got a credibility list that is as long as anybody you'll ever see anywhere. You will never question him in a court of law. He is an impeccable witness.
This next photograph is this gentleman lying in a bed, and I will let you, I'm not even going to attempt to say what's going on here. Sure. Go ahead.
Basically, the story was given to me years ago because I was studying, my interest is not looking at the macabre or the bizarre stories of the UFO phenomena. It's looking at all evidence. I don't care if you've had one of the most wonderful experiences in the world and they taught you all the stars in the universe. That's okay. That's information to me. That's evidence. That's good. I want to know everything, not some of it. I don't want to know a slanted view of this phenomena. I want to know the whole story. And the only way you can know that is to look at all the evidence. This is one of those stories that, again, many investigators are not going to want to hear. this case, the man, it lives in Brazil, and he, this is not the water sponga case that some people may think we're talking about, where a body was found floating in the water and this sort of thing and mutilated like a cow. That's a totally different story. This is later, and the gentleman had a UFO experience and was left in the grass outside this little village. And this little village, in fact, I told this story on an interview the X-Files did with me concerning the movie The X-Files. And I was taunting them because they stole some of my information. They're like the fluorescent hand on the X-Files when it shows in the beginning of the X-Files movie, the TV show. Mm-hmm. I said, where'd you get the fluorescence on that hand? They said, well, from you, of course. You're the one who discovered it. I said, don't you think it'd be nice for you to give me credit for the stuff that I do? And anyway, so I was getting after them pretty hard. So I gave them this case, and I said, you're going to show this one on TV? And, of course, they looked at me. They were horrified. This man was found by some children. They were going to school. They heard someone crying in the weeds, and they recognized the voice. I said, this is the city that has the little place that has no electricity. They live by candlelight and lanterns and this sort of thing, so it's not like there's high-tech stuff going on there. I said, the individual was crying, asking for help because he couldn't see. And the little kids got close to him. Of course, when they saw that his eyes had been surgically removed, they ran away and told Mommy and Daddy and the rest of them. So the community comes out there and they take care of him and do whatever they need, get the doctors and so on to help him. This is him lying in a bed sometime later. You can see him holding his glasses there because his eyes have been surgically removed. And this is the sad part. These investigators are listening to his story. And shortly thereafter, this photograph, he went completely insane because he can't make any sense of, quote unquote, why space aliens would come down and take his eyes for some galactic good reason. I mean, I just, nobody's going to understand that. It just doesn't work. And he actually went insane and went to an insane asylum. Is the best information that I have to date.
Let's take a break right here, Derrel. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about 2018. These pictures are incredible, absolutely incredible. We'll talk about 2018. We're going to talk about disclosure and also Derrel's event that he's got coming up in Houston. We'll do all of that in one short minute. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants
months.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, concluding our 5th year tonight, December 18th, 2018. Derrel Sims is with us. Fascinating conversation tonight, Derrel. And those photographs, and I know everybody's like, hey, man, where can I see these? Well, you know, I'm not so sure that you want to see them.
No, but, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but some of them may be available. That's up to Derrel, but they're pretty incredible. Tough to look at. And thank you. I've just, it's disturbing to consider what was behind this. I mean, it's traumatic. It's traumatic. You've got an event coming up in Houston. Tell us about it.
I have. We've decided to, a friend of mine and I have decided to literally put on the first Native American Indian conference. And by that I mean Native American, the viewpoint is strictly Native American. And in other words, the speakers are all Native American, and some are part blood, most of them are full blood. And basically it's their viewpoint of what's going on in the UFO world. And we have Cliff Mahudi, a Zuni medicine man, and he'll be speaking on the 5 stages of man, the Zuni historical perspective, and that's wonderful. John Redbird Dover and Stanley Milford, these are Navajo Rangers, ex-Navajo Rangers, and they're friends of mine. All these people are. They're really good people. they're going to scare people clean out of their seats, I think, when the people see some of their work, because they're going to talk about Bigfoot. They're going to show UFO research, and this is from a police point of view, by the way. Paranormal events don't make any sense, and Navajo witchcraft. In other words, the skinwalkers and what they really are. And I'm telling you, they'll give you fair warning to leave if you don't want to hear it. The last person, second to last person, is Greg Valdez, coming from the Hickory Apache Indian Reservation. He'll be speaking on a remarkable subject, and one that a lot of people talk about and don't know the true story of. And it's called, he simply is going to talk about the history and development of the Dulce story, the Dulce base, and the facts versus the fiction. That's going to be fascinating. And the last person that's going to be speaking, and actually the first and the last person speaking, is me. And I'll be speaking from the Cherokee, Irish, and Scottish background, and thoughts on the alien, past, present, and future. And the last presentation I'll give is physical evidence of the alien, and where are they now?
All of this is going down January 19th, 2019 in Houston. What's the facility you guys are doing this at?
We're going to do it right there near the Intercontinental Airport at the Hilton Inn. It is on my site, alienhunter.org. You'll be able to see the information, and we have a website, skydancer.org.com, and but all this is going to be available very, very quickly. Our webmasters are working on it right now, and they're just finishing up the Skydancer site, and it'll be all over my sites as well. And it's going to be a wonderful conference. I guarantee you there's not anything been like this before. This is strictly from a native point of view, and our histories and so on, and what we've had happen. It's just going to be grand, really grand.
Skydancer Native UFO Conference, Houston, Texas, and that is January 19th, 2019. And SkydancerUFOCon.com, and of course you can go to alienhunter.org and go and get all the information that you need right there. It looks like a pretty exciting conference. You know, Clifford is Clifford, right?
That's correct.
Man.
I have a funny story to tell you about him real quick. I was at Roswell this last year. I've been there for 22 years in a row, and they're still not mad at me or bored with me yet. And anyway, we're having a lot of fun. And I said, this is my Zuni medicine man friend. You know, he doesn't speak English. And everybody's, oh. And I said, I will translate for you. And he starts speaking Zuni, telling all this stuff. And of course, I just blather out all this information. It's just not true.
Right.
And my friends were all, wow, you can translate Zuni? And I said, Zuni? Is that what he's speaking? I said, are you speaking Zuni? He looks at me and speaks in English, says, yeah. But I don't know what I said. Anyway, they realized we were having them on. And Indians love to laugh at themselves, at people, at life, and this is awful to say, but it's true. But it's a fun thing. They love laughing at white people.
Yeah, Clifford is one of the funniest, coolest, most down to earth people. Yes. Period on this planet. A very genuine soul. Very cool guy. Love Clifford Mahooty. Now let's talk about 2018 a little bit. At the beginning of the year, when everything started to take off with the New York Times, which started, in December of 2017, all this talk about the Pentagon and these videos, 3 videos were released over a couple of months, and that disclosure was imminent, and I bought into it. I was excited. And it seemed like we were making giant steps, right, that we were heading in that direction. How did you feel at the beginning of 2018 as things started to take off?
I want to say this without sounding negative. I'm ex-CIA, so I know the game. This is the cover story. You feed people, even whenever you get past the cover story and you decide to give them something, a piece of a radar film, good Lord. I mean, they could have shown that 30 years ago. They could have shown film like that for 30 years. They finally showed a piece of radar film that showed really an amazing phenomena, witnesses, ground, sky, for every direction. It's excellent. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's way too little, way too late. They could have told you so much more, but there wasn't. Why do that? Why not just test the water and see what they will deal with? And then, $22 million was given over to the Bigelow Foundation or for whomever for research in UFOs and so on. God bless America. I have no problem with all of that. I think that was a great idea. The problem is, what about the big black budget money stuff that you spent on that you didn't tell anybody about? That's the stuff I want to know about. How did Roswell work out for us?
Right.
One day we have a flying saucer, next day we don't.
Right.
I'm sorry. I actually met one of the pilots that was supposed to fly the bodies, and this guy's never been on TV. No one's ever interviewed him. I guarantee you. And it was a miracle I even found him. It was quite by accident. Long story short is I talked to him and I said, and I met him in La Luz, New Mexico. And he was working on he told me not to come there. I yelled on the phone and said, tell him I'm coming. He said, no. And I went over anyway. I'm in a 3-piece suit out there and it's 105 degrees weather. And he kept looking at me sneering, and he's sanding on his old Corvette Stingray. And I said, those are the worst cars I ever drove in my life. And he looked at me and smiled and said, you actually have driven one of these, haven't you? I said, yes, I have. They're like driving a tank. They're horrible, these old Corvettes. And he said, well, come on inside. And I went inside and sat down and all of that. And finally he says, are you going to ask me about Roswell or not? And I said, not unless you want me to. And of course, at that point, it was all over. And I said, now I'm ex-military, and listen to me carefully. You just told me that you said you were ordered to fly the bodies to Carswell Air Force Base. He said, that's correct. And you told them no. I said, now, that's called disobeying a direct order and is punishable by 3 years imprisonment. Why are you not in jail? Why? You see the problem I'm having with your story. And he said, oh, I totally understand. He said, the reason, first of all, I said I wouldn't fly them is because one day, he said, our information officer said, we have a flying saucer. Yay. The next day it disappeared, and it was a weather balloon. He said, what might happen to the pilots that flew the non-existent bodies and parts and so on to some undisclosed location? Might he disappear too, like that UFO did? And he said, I'd rather go to prison. And I said, well, they'll put you in prison, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. He said, I told the officer that I was scared to death, and I said, if you want to put me in prison, do it. And he said, but that's the only thing I'll ever disobey, and the reason is because I think I'll never show up anywhere else. I think I'll disappear like that. And he said, and they let me off for that reason. He said, but my buddy flew it. And I said, well, give me his address. And he said, he'll never talk to you. I said, they said the same thing about you.
When we consider this, the amount of secrecy that would have to have been implemented is understandable. In that, especially when you go back to that era, the pressure, you think about the amount of intelligence that was in the state of New Mexico at that time, yes. All of the atomic secrets and all of the testing and everything else. Yes. We had to keep this stuff under control. And the amount of secrecy there, this was our country, the world was on the line. And everybody understood that. We were right. World War II just ended, right? Loose lips sink ships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I totally get it. I totally understand it. And weather balloon, crash flying saucer, none of that matters. If you were told, well, it matters, but if you were told to keep your mouth shut, then that's what you did, right? That's exactly what you did.
That's right.
Now, Wade, you said something earlier, and it didn't get past everybody on Twitter, by the way. You said ex-CIA. Is anybody ever really ex-CIA, Derrel?
Sure. In fact, one guy told me there's one conference they will not let me speak at, and Dr. Carla Turner, the late Dr. Carla Turner, Candy, as everybody knew her, they were friends with hers. She said, I've done everything I can to try to get you in that conference. I said, well, why do you think the reason they don't want me in there? She said, I went and asked them. So these are friends of mine. They said, once CIA, always CIA. And he's spying on everybody. And she said, but I know him and he's my best friend and we're buddies. He's not. He said, no, he's got to still be in the CIA. The fact is, if you're sheep dipped, if you're in the military and you're sheep dipped, and that simply means taken out of the CIA, taken out of the military, put in the CIA under the umbrella of the DOD, Department of Defense, and then you go back into the military at some point, you're out of the CIA. You actually are. You're no longer family. You're out. It's just that simple. The problem people don't understand is there's a difference between a CIA employee, a CIA agent, and a sheep dip person. A CIA agent, they're actually those are people who are not really CIA. An agent is a person who works for the CIA, either knowing or unknowing. That's called witting or unwitting, and they simply don't. In other words, you might be used by them and you don't even get it. You might be in the UFO community and be fed information, false or correct, by a quote unquote deep throat that you don't know who it is, and they're CIA, and they've been spoon feeding you this stuff on purpose because you're carrying their narrative. You're carrying water for them, and whether you know it or not. But a CIA spy, these are actually called case officers. They're not CIA agents. They're case officers. And I was not a case officer. I never was a spy. I did spy on some of the CIA people at the behest of the CIA because there was a problem there, and they wanted me to see if I could solve it. And they wanted somebody not directly involved in the company level, so to speak. But I was a military. I was in the military and attached to that, and I was a weapons instructor there, and also a martial art instructor in the CIA, and can prove that, and can prove that I'm no longer involved for lots of reasons. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that I never was a quote unquote direct GS rated employee of the CIA. I never was. They asked me to come in after I got out of the service and to go finish the education they wanted me to have, and then to come back in with a high GS rating. That would have been fine, but I just didn't want to do it. Not interested.
Now, here we are at the end of 2018. Disclosure, obviously, didn't happen. It seemed like we were getting pretty close there at a couple of moments. Were you surprised by that?
I'm not. Again, there is so much information out there that's high quality information that the intelligence people have, I promise you. And for them to throw out these trinkets, these crumbs, so to speak, that we consider jewels, this is great, this is good stuff. It's nothing to what they have. I promise you that nothing to what they have.
Do you think we are getting close, Derrel? 2019 is here. I think the expectations are really, really high. We have quite a few people out there that are saying they have some stuff and that things are about to break loose. We don't have to name names, But do you think 2019 is the year, or is there something else going on?
Well, I can answer that two ways. One is late in the 1990s, two doctor friends of mine invited me to a secret meeting, and a lady was present there, and I was in LA at the time. They had been talking to her, and they invited me over, and she wanted to talk to me. And I thought, well, okay. I didn't recognize the woman. She did identify herself as being the best friend of Bill and Hillary Clinton. And I said, why am I here? And she said, first of all, they're very interested in your work. And number two, and my implant work, because I was, a lot of people don't know this, but Roger Lear I was his mentor. He didn't even believe in this phenomena of implants and things like that until after I showed him enough evidence, and he bought into it and realized that this is very real stuff, very good stuff. The point is, I years later, recognized the lady. I think I know who she is now. And again, the lady came back later, and I sent videos of my work, of my hypnotic work and my implant work, surgeries, with this lady for Bill and Hillary Clinton. And she later told me, she came back at another meeting with us and said that they were very impressed with my work and wanted to know if I wanted to get funded. And I said, and of course, the two doctors jumping up and down, so excited they couldn't hardly stand it because they thought, yay, the money. And I said, I don't think I'd be interested. And she says, why not? And the two doctors were horrified because they wanted the money, obviously. And I said, I am familiar with some of the government processes of funding and some of the underhanded ways sometimes the way this is done and the way I think this is going to go down. I said, I think somebody at some point is going to be investigated, and I think somebody's going to jail. And I assure you, it's not anybody high. It's the guy on the other end of the rope, so to speak, that would be me and these doctors, and we're going to be the ones swing for it if anything goes bad. Not you, not the Clintons, us. And I said, I'm not going to take that risk, and I would rather be funded publicly or from someone out in the privately. I said, but from the government under the auspices of which you've mentioned, I said, I don't want that kind of involvement. I don't want those kind of people looking over my shoulder and watching me for the next 15, 20 years. No.
Do you think if we move forward with disclosure, do you think it's going to be from help from the Pentagon or the CIA or some other agency, or it's going to be something else that's going to drive it?
I think you hit it right on the head. I don't think the CIA, the NSA, DIA, DOD, Air Force, Office of Naval Investigations, none of these people are going to help us. The only thing you're going to get from them is crumbs. And that is all well planned. And there are reasons for that. And in some cases, there are good reasons for it. But the other part of the story is I don't like it. And I don't like it because my tax dollars are paying these people to deceive me, to keep information from the general public who I want to know what's going on. If people are from other worlds or other dimensions or spiritual or any other situation are here on this planet doing good, bad, or not, I want everybody to know about it. I want everybody to have a vote in it. This is called democracy, and I am 100% for that type of disclosure. And I think that we're not going to get it from the intelligence community for lots of reasons. But the fact is, NASA, one of the insiders, and you hit it right on the head, insiders are going to be your best telltellers. And I don't mean people who are saying, I'm a whistleblower and I'm going to tell you all this great stuff. There's no evidence for it, but I'm going to tell you this. I don't buy into that. I just don't. It doesn't work for me. Doesn't mean they're not true. It just means it doesn't work. But now when people like Dr. Norman Bergram, who as early as 1986 started telling people, he's a NASA scientist, started publishing information about the rings of Saturn and the UFOs that were in them and what they were doing there. And he still didn't get fired from NASA and was still working there till recently. And these are the kind of people I like to talk to, because they're showing the evidence. You can pull your own telescope out, look through any telescope and see exactly what he said is true. Look at it.
Can we?
In fact, he wrote a wonderful book called The Ring Makers of Saturn.
Yeah, it's a great book. I've got 3 minutes, Derrel. Are you suggesting that the Pentagon, DIA, Navy, Air Force, whatever, NSA, CI, cannot be trusted? Right? When they, there are people right now saying, hey, I'm ex-Pentagon and trust me, I'm your friend now. And we're going to push this agenda forward.
I think this, and I think I think the history of it is clear from my point of view. I trust the intelligence community and the military and so on to protect us. I think they found out more about the alien than we know, and I think we're in trouble. And I think they've known that, and I think they figured it out by day 2 of Roswell, 1947. What I mean by that is when they found out what really was going on, kind of even had a little clue.
Right.
They turned it into a weather balloon, because they found out that there were some problems with this story, and that these entities are not exactly trustworthy, and we need to be considering this from an intelligence point. I trust them to protect us. I mean, I kind of have to. Because, who else are you going to trust? The Russians or the Chinese or who, Mm-hmm. I'm going to trust our guys first. But second of all, do I trust them to give me the information? No, the intelligence community is not going to do it. You're going to have to find out on your own. That's why I'm doing implant surgeries and collecting pieces of UFO and evidence and biology from aliens and things like this, because we are going to have to produce our own disclosure.
Thank you so much, Derrel. And again, another great conversation. And I want to remind everybody, Sky Dancer Native UFO Conference is going down in Houston, Texas, January 19th, 2019. All of the information that you need is over at alienhunter.org. And, of course, you can also go to skydancerufocon.com. Derrel, be safe and be well out there, my friend.
God bless you, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
That's what I'm talking about. Happy holidays to you and yours. Thank you so much, Derrel.
Bye-bye.
Derrel Sims, the Alien Hunter. Fantastic conversation. And again, it's skydancerufocon.com and alienhunter.org. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Very simple to go and get to. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. And I'm going to come back and open up the phone lines, and we'll cruise out of here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with me.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi folks, CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and my family is safe because of Numana Emergency Food Storage. Just go to the Numana banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code Jimmy10.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Derrel Sims. What a great conversation. 5 years in the can. And did it our last night with Derrel Sims. Amazing conversation. And again, the photographs, they just can't be posted. It's not that kind of party. But I saw them, and they're pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. And there are reasons for that. They're very personal. But when you see that kind of, you could almost call it a trace or physical evidence like that, there's something going on. I don't know. You know, but that's it's definitely traumatic, whatever it is. I can almost use the word violent. And pretty amazing photographs. And the guy that had his eyes removed, whew, man, tough to look at. But there you go, Derrel Sims, the alien hunter. All right, I've opened up the phone lines, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929. Pretty hard to believe. 5 years in the can, and tomorrow is our 5th anniversary, heading into our 6th year. And tomorrow night, Richard Dolan is going to be with us. And so with that, let's go to the phones. Let's go to area code 805. You're up first. Who's calling?
This is Chloe.
Hi, Chloe. How are you?
I'm okay. I usually call in and I'm kind of like, well, I don't really know what's going on. But when I hear people talk about E.T., and I'm talking about David Jacobs and this guy that was just on that I've never heard of before, as if across the board they're all negative and they're here with this agenda or whatever, part of the program. And anyone who has happy thoughts about aliens, we've somehow been brainwashed by them to believe it was a happy experience. When I have had contact my whole life, and I've never had a negative experience, except the only time I've ever felt fear are the times that I wake up between 3 and 4 a.m. with something right next to my bed and somebody wearing camo pants standing next to them who I never get to see his face. But that's the only time that it's ever been negative, is when there's been like a human involved with it. All the other times with the mantid being and the spheres and the angelic being and the fact that they've guided me and assisted me throughout my life, it's really difficult for me to believe that these negative acts are, they're negative across the board, that ETs, I'm just brainwashed. I just don't know. I mean, why would they help me out throughout my whole life, if they were just negative? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, what does make sense to me, and Chloe, you're absolutely right. That is your experience, and we need to hear that, right? And we need to hear everybody. We need to hear everybody's experiences, because I can assure you, and one of the points that Derrel said tonight, I can assure you that when we are talking about cattle mutilations and what Linda Moulton Howe has been investigating for decades, that wasn't a positive experience for that cow. And there's just no way that you can say that cow enjoyed that, and that was an enlightening experience. So no, I
want to point out something. Okay, people have brought up the blue orbs at the ranch, at the Skinwalker Ranch, and what happened at the Skinwalker Ranch? The people that kept experiencing more and more. When they first got there was something negative that happened, and then they stayed, and things kept happening to them that weren't positive. And finally, something happened to one of his dogs or two of his dogs, I don't know. And then they left. Now, they never hurt anybody in the family. From what I understand, nobody in that family was ever hurt. I've never heard of a human at that ranch getting hurt, unless I'm wrong and there's something I don't know. So, and I've heard that people, if there's a portal there, if there's something there that they use, that everything uses, or it's not a good place to be, maybe all of those negative things happen, like get off this land. You're not supposed to be here. It's not a good place for you. This is a bad place for you. It's bad for your health, or it's bad for you because of certain things that come through. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but all of those things,
Yeah, but we have to hear every side of the story. And see, this is what I find so interesting, is that when you go through, as somebody that listens to the show a lot, and you go through a month of programs here, or a year, and you hear different experiences, different sightings, different craft, different contacts, different beings, different that are completely different, not only from month to month, but from day to day, right? And so everybody can't be right. Everybody certainly can't be wrong. What we have to do is listen to everybody. We listen to you. We listen to David Jacobs or Stephen Greer or whoever is out there talking about this. Listen to everybody and collect the information and try to figure this out. I know this, that if I'm abducted, I haven't been that I know of, but if I'm abducted, I'm not going in there thinking this is going to be fun. I'm not letting my guard down. You know, there's just no way. There's no way. I don't know if you've met Travis Walton, but I have. I've eaten lunch and breakfast and dinner with Travis Walton, and I've sat down and looked straight into his eyes, and I know that what happened to him scared him. It was a frightening experience. In the end, today he says, I think that they took me aboard the craft because they injured me and they wanted to help me. But I didn't know, and he went through something that was very, very traumatic. And I can guarantee you when he came back to Earth and he was next to that phone booth, and was looking around and he's naked, that he was in a positive state of mind. Like, wow, that was cool. I want to go do that again. No.
Right, but it's because he didn't understand what had happened. And after time passed and he reflected on it, he was like, oh, wow. Because it's kind of like, I can't really relate to that because everything's been positive except for those. So but I think my point about all of this are people who say across the board they're all negative. I mean, it's okay if they say, some of these things seem to be negative. I wouldn't get so upset if they said some of these things appear to be negative. But anyone who's like across the board, it's all negative, and if you think otherwise, then you have been programmed or brainwashed by the aliens, and you believe what they want you to believe.
Right.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I hear you. And see, the reason why, okay, now we're almost going in circles. But in that, you are correct. That is your experiences. Derrel has been investigating this for 40 years, and he's come to certain conclusions based on the evidence and his experiences. And he's done over 2,000 cases. 2,000. And he is reporting and having a conversation about what he has found, and we have to listen to him, just like we have to listen to you.
All of those 2,000 cases have been negative?
I'm not saying he said that.
Okay, because that's how it sounds when he's talking about it.
And he's giving a warning. Absolutely, yeah. I don't think he's messing around with what he is trying to say. He's saying it very directly. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Chloe. But that's why we listen to everybody. And that's why this show is so cool. And one day we'll find out. We will find out. My point to Derrel that we had talked about early on in the show was this. There are potentially, literally, thousands and thousands and thousands of civilizations out there that are visiting us. An astronomical number. Your experiences are of a very, there's just so many. And we don't know what their agendas are. We really don't.
But we also can't project the agenda of man, what has happened on this planet and what we know about humans to be true, onto beings from somewhere else, because we know how evil men can be.
See, you just said it yourself. You just said it yourself. There are a few ways. How can we not take a look at things on our own experiences? There's a couple of points here that I always go back to. Chemistry is chemistry. The universe is the universe. Atoms are atoms. The constructions, the molecular buildup of things, amino acids, and everything else in this universe are all the same. So the life that would generate on another planet probably starts with the same basic things that we are made of, basically. So now, how they grow up, where their intelligence grows, what their experience, what their agenda is, we don't know. But we are all made of the same stuff. So when we stop and consider what is going on out there, we have to. What else do we have to go on? What do we do here? Well, we're exploring the universe. We have telescopes, we have satellites, we have probes. We're going to other planets. We're doing things. Well, wouldn't E.T. be doing the same thing? Of course. Why? Because that's what we are doing. So the other side of it, our violent nature and our positive nature, are two of the attributes that we have here. So E.T. could be violent. E.T. could be cool. Depends on who we're dealing with. And that's based on our own experiences. You know, if there was no violence on this planet and everybody was good and cool and positive and running around with fairy dust, flying in the air, then maybe that's what we would expect out there. But because we know that isn't the case on our own planet, then we have to keep our eyes open and our guard up.
And I have no problem with that. I have absolutely no problem with that. I only have a problem with, especially with like David Jacobs saying that it's all evil. And that would be like someone telling you that everybody in Iran, all those people are horrible and evil because of whatever reason, I don't know. And so, and this happens. This happens on our planet. People hate other people just because someone said something. And it has nothing to do with it might have something to do with the government, their government in some other country, but it has nothing to do with the people that live in the country. To hate a whole group of people because of where they live or who they're associated with or what color their skin is or what religion they are is ridiculous. But of course, it happens.
Yeah, I know. Chloe, you're absolutely right, and point taken. And then, and I want to thank you for the phone call, and I'll see you tomorrow night on the show for sure, and Thursday. But remember that one scene in Independence Day when everybody was on the roof of that high-rise building in downtown L.A., right? It's so beautiful. Look, oh, man, take me, I want to be first. What happened? They got smoked.
I don't know.
They got smoked. So there you go. Listen, Chloe, enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great phone call. And Chloe's right. Chloe's absolutely right. And David Jacobs isn't the only one saying this and these types of negative ideas when it comes to E.T. and the other parts. And then to Chloe's defense, I'll say this. If E.T. had bad intentions, then what am I doing on the microphone? Why are we even here? Right? Would they just come and take over? Well, okay. All right. There's a lot to be said for that. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Area code 408. You're up next.
Hi, Jimmy. It's Deb from Sacramento.
Hi, Deb from Sacramento. How are you?
Good. I never thought about what Derrel said before. It's very interesting what he said about his philosophy about it just depends on what program they're running on you. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you think they're wonderful and benevolent or, and again, Hollywood has played a big role in, like the last scene in Close Encounters where they're all in wonderment and awe and the E.T. has, the wonderful loving look on his face and they all, tears come to your eyes as you watch, Richard Dreyfuss climb on the ship and go away and think, oh, it's so wonderful and they come in peace. And it's a beautiful feeling at the end of that movie. It's emotional for me. And then you've got, like you just said, the Independence, here comes the blue beam, boom, down on the roof, and they're all, toast.
Right.
And so because our intuition, God gave us, or our Creator gave us all, every one of us, intuition. And as much as I would love to see that craft come down and the excitement of and the awe of, oh, here it comes, at the same time, there's a reason we have that hesitation and that, fear, because it's the fear of the unknown, and it's there for a reason, and because we don't know what to expect. And so there's the mystery of it, and it's all just, the unknown, and it's scary and it's exciting, and it may end up being a wonderful thing depending on what program they're running on. It's very interesting what he said there. I never thought about it that way before.
There's that side of it, and also depends on who's visiting us at that moment. I have no idea. None of us do. I have no idea about how many civilizations out there are aware of planet Earth. But I'm sure that there are a lot. But I think that number is stupid big. Stupid big. Stupid big. Millions upon millions. I have no idea how many Earth-like planets that support life and have life on it that are in our own Milky Way. I don't know. But I can tell you that the number is, it could be easily 1 billion. It could be easily 10 billion. It could be more than that. And so we need to stop and put ourselves into check. And the other side is the universe is big. It's really big. It's infinite. It is big. It is crazy huge. So is our Milky Way. Our Milky Way, people forget, they think about the universe and all the galaxies out there, and they just think that the Milky Way is some cute little thing. Oh, my goodness. I mean, how many light years it is, the closest star, the closest is 4.5 light years away. That's the closest, Alpha Centauri. That is the closest star, 4.5 light years. Do you know how long it would take us? 4.5 light years sounds really close, right? Wow, it's only 4.5 light years away. At the speed of light, it's 4.5 light years away. At 0.1% of the speed of light, which is what we travel at right now, right? 17,000 miles an hour. You know how long it would take us to get to Alpha Centauri? 50,000 years. 50,000. That's how big the Milky Way is. And that is the closest. That's the closest. So when we are talking about life and what's going on in our Milky Way and who is visiting us here, it's the numbers are huge. I was looking at a Hubble Space Telescope image of the center of our Milky Way, just this shot. And you have never seen so many stars in your life. Compacted together, it is just this giant fun. I have no idea how many stars are in this image. It's like 1 million, right? It's 1 million. And it's just one little teeny tiny little speck. just this little tiny little spot that the Hubble just happened to grab in the center of our Milky Way. And then you look at that image, and you know what you say to yourself? Every one of those stars has a planet. Right? It's a crazy thing to just think about. And if ET out there has figured out interstellar travel, how to fold space faster than the speed of light travel, wormholes, black hole, whatever it is, interdimensional travel, however they are doing it, and they have figured it out, well, it's easy for them to get around. It's very, very easy. And they've been out there mapping the Milky Way just like we are. They're out there looking for exoplanets just like we are. And there are ET civilizations out there that have mapped everything. And when I say civilizations, I'm not talking about 2 or 3. I'm talking about millions of them. Millions. Millions. And they all know. They all know about Earth. And they also know about another 5-10 billion Earth-like planets out there that are just as gorgeous as this planet. And that's the bottom line. There isn't any other way to look at it. There isn't. You know what's really funny?
Right.
You know what's funny, Deb?
Oh, go ahead.
This is what's funny. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we didn't think like this. We didn't know these numbers. We didn't know about the planets. We didn't know about the exoplanets. We didn't realize what we know now. This is all fresh stuff. This is fresh stuff. This is 25 years ago. Pff, come on. We didn't have the knowledge that we have today. I'm telling you, it's a different kind of party. It's a different kind of party, and it's an exciting time for us to not only experience, but for science right now. If I was 20 years old right now, if I was 18 years old, you know what I would be? I would be an astronomer. I'd be an astrophysicist. Mm-hmm. What a great time to have all of this technology and this knowledge and going out there and mapping out the universe and the Milky Way and finding exoplanets every single day. Today it broke. The news broke. We have found the first exomoon. The first exomoon around another planet. Think about that. That's crazy. That's just mind-blowing to me. So that's what I would do. I'd be some crazy astrophysicist, cosmologist, astronomer out there mapping and finding all of this stuff out. That's what I would be doing. That's what I would go and what can you imagine? Hey, how many planets are you going to find tonight? I'm going to find 3. How about you? Man, okay, you're on. I'm going to find 4. I'm going to find 4. Think about that. That's what's going on today. All right,
definitely
Deb.
look forward to going to work, that's for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I know, right? Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Congratulations on your 5 years, Jimmy.
Yeah, pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. And all the credit goes to Rita. I'm just the guy behind the mic. Thank you so much, Deb. We'll see you tomorrow night.
All right. Take care, Jimmy.
Have a great night. And 5 years. 5 years. Unbelievable. And although I was just talking about this, what I have done, and I go and I look at this nearly every single day, but what I have done is listen to the cosmologists, the astrophysicists out there, the astronomers, and these scientists that are out there exploring, and I've watched the numbers change. I've watched them change. In 20 years, I've watched them, steadily change. 10 years, 5 years. Go back, do this for yourself. Go back 20 years ago. Listen to a physicist talk about the universe and talk about the Milky Way and listen to the numbers that he or she is going to quote. Go back. It's amazing. And listen to what they say today. It is apples and oranges. This is the best time. This is the best time right now. Yeah, 2019 could be the year. All right. So that's it. Locked down. 5 years of Fade to Black. Tomorrow is our 5th anniversary with Richard Dolan. All the credit goes to Fade to Black's executive producer, Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I want to thank Derrel Sims for coming in tonight. He was large. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll see everybody tomorrow night. Until then, be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.